Hello, this is Kara from Kara Tarot, and today I'd just like to share with you a deck that is a recreation of an historic deck. I was first introduced to the tarot of Jost Amman on a post by Mariana at Happening by Chance. She had a version from Make Playing Cards, which is a much more traditional, historic coloration of these drawings. These are based on a card deck from 1588, Nuremberg illustrator Jost Amman, his Carta Lusoria playing cards, published in 1588 in book form, a 52 card deck with 2 trumps. And the suits are a little unusual, as you will see. There, I believe, is another place you can get a more traditional coloration. This is from Game Crafters, and this version was published in 2024. So I haven't seen much of this, and I can see that people that are like really historical decks might not be interested in this coloration of it. At the same time, when I was looking at this, I had just gotten the very traditional Matronoa, and I got another very traditional historic pip deck. So while I really like the drawings in the Make Playing Cards version, and I do like that coloration, I thought this would be different to use this modern coloration of it. And you know I like bright colors, so the pip suits did not exactly follow the traditional order. So in the course of working with them, they have been reordered and made to align with the normal king, queen, knight. I think it's something about they had 2 knights to begin with, each suit. And then the majors, and that was done by using the illustrations of Jost Amman's Book of Trades, so that it would come up to a standard 56 card pip deck. And then the majors were created by using Jost Amman's other illustration images to create the majors. And that is something that is often done in historical deck circles if cards are missing and the person is an illustrator that has a lot of illustrations to work with, they try to use that person's illustrations. And then they've been completely recolored in these bright, vibrant colors. So I just thought I would enjoy sharing this with you. So the illustrations were done in 2023 and it was published in 2024. And I will begin with the suits. The suits, the tankards actually, it's a little confusing because there are tankards and there are goblets. The tankards represent wands. Right away, you've got a viol de gamba and a harpist, so you know I love this deck. So 5 of Wands, you definitely have that traditional meaning there. Now these are obviously intensely illustrated, much more like the Vachetta deck. Now the goblets would be the cups. You can see that these illustrations are going to be giving you a lot of other things to work with other than just the traditional numeric pip meaning, or even the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith meanings for these numbers. They have their own thing going on in that card. Let's pause for a moment and look. There is a book. It's a little book. But let's look and see what they say about the 9 of goblets. Even if you think your glass is empty, there is still hope. With any luck, your own hard work will bear fruit. It is the humble worker who holds a society together, from the everyday person on the ground to the leaders of the country. That meaning to me sounds a lot more like a traditional Pentacles meaning, although bearing fruit is certainly part of the 9 of Cups usually. Here we an image that looks a lot like the 7 of Pentacles, and here the 10 of Goblets. Tend to your work diligently and complete the necessary tasks. Guilty pleasures are only a distraction, and seeing the result of your work is a pleasure all of its own. The fruits of your labor will be your reward. And here exactly, this is almost the meaning of the Rider-Waite-Smith 7 of Pentacles. So you're going to be reading, when I work with this, I'm going to be reading what's in the card, and not necessarily thinking about the traditional meaning of that card. Now, the suit of books is, I think, the swords. Let me check that. Knowledge and education. So yes, this equates to the swords or the spades. So the 3 of Swords, we usually have a really strong impression of what we think of that. The 3 of Books. How much of your piety comes from study and faithful love? Let the child act the goose in the classroom. Faith will stoke the fire in your soul. Don't pretend sweetness in the name of belief while you plan something else. And Ella Mortimer is the Australian author and graphic designer who recolored this, and she is the author of this guidebook. So she clearly rethought the definitions in terms of the images, but also with an understanding of medieval drawings. So the Nine of Books would be the Nine of Swords. Keep your mind fresh and inspired by singing in your head. You would be a fool to scorn the energizing power of music. Meanwhile, take your time with gentle practice of your art. There is no reason to feel inadequate. So clearly this is nothing like the Rider-Waite-Smith images. Or meanings. I mean, nothing like the Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. It's also nothing like the images. And the definitions in this book are drawn from these images. The Queen of Books would be the Queen of Swords. Wake up. The dawn has chased away the shadows, and all darkness will flee empty-handed from the day. Get up and go. You have much to carry, but you rise above and fulfill your hunger for glory, singing with eternal praise. It is your time in the sun. Clearly, from the definitions, the book that's being referred to is at least obliquely the Bible, because these are about faith. Stamps would be the equivalent of the Pentacles. This has to do with a stamp that was used for applying printer's ink from the wooden plate onto paper. And this had to do with also with legality. These would be, traditionally would be the coins or the stamps. Interesting that a goblet is thrown in here. Five of coins in Rider-Waite-Smith would be poverty. Here it's obviously quite different. The six being generosity looks more like a fight. Let me see what this says about this. Just as all manner of beasts stampede about, each led by its own nature, so too is it human nature to seek out the forbidden pleasures in life, and temptation is everywhere. So very, very different meaning from the traditional TDM or Rider-Waite-Smith. I put aside the 7, 8, and 9 of stamps so we can look at them in a bit. This is clearly has to do with industriousness. Even while you spend your life perfecting your craft, remember what brought you there to begin with. The old crafts are languishing in the dust, slowly being forgotten. We need to revive them before it's too late, because we will not see their like again. So this is similar to the Ten of Pentacles in that it is about legacy, but this is about the legacy of crafts and craftsmanship. So as I often do, I'm going to pull out the 7, 8, and 9 of what would be pentacles, but here they're stamps. It's about being trapped in a bad situation. The attempt to drive away your problems might make them increase. Don't sink to the level of the lower person. The Eight of Stamps. When the criminal dares to act outside the law, it is hoped that he will be caught in the act. Those who are out of their minds trying to cheat the system, do you honestly think they can deceive the authorities? So in both of these cases, this deception has to do, it looks like, with crops or property. And then the Nine of Stamps. Even if the luck of the draw brings you the very best of fortune and you share your winnings with those you love, remember it's still a gamble. Even if you win everything, there's still a chance that you might lose it all. But win or lose, it's just a game. So this is gambling. Instead of the fulfillment and appreciation that the Nine of Pentacles and Coins usually means, this is about taking risks with it and squandering it. So a little more moralistic. And here are the majors now. The Fool was last in the deck. I just moved him up here. These are more standardized, obviously, because these were created from other illustrations of Jost Amman, so they could be more standardized with the TDM, Justice, in the 8 position. The Hermit here also looking a lot like the depictions of time in early decks. This Strength with Pillars, very much in keeping with early Terre de Marseille or Italian decks. And I am going to do an Arcana Battle with this. This is a little heavier than plain card weight. It's a nice tarot card weight. It's a smooth finish. Definitely slides well if you pick this way. And again, the Arcana Battle, which I do regularly, is you're going mostly by the image that you prefer. Keep the image that you prefer, take the other one away. The goal is to do it very quickly so that you're responding to the image, not thinking about the meaning of the card. And then the one or two that you're left with are your initial reading. Just flipping through, this was one of my favorite images. It'll be hard to beat. Okay. So the stars, hope, sparkling hope, belief in beauty, and I do think this is a lovely deck. I love the coloration of this deck. It's bright. It's, and the Hanged Man, a new way of looking at things. This is obviously someone before on the way to being hanged. So, but still that meaning of the Hanged Man as a different perspective, as changing your perspective. Obviously, from what I've read of the book, this deck will be giving me very different layers of thought on a lot of the cards. I was already thinking, because I'm doing the Drop 'em 78 challenge, I thought this would be a great calibration deck because the meanings are so different. It would really make you deepen and think about the regular meanings that we're used to. So there you have it. The bright and beautiful Tarot of Jost Amman. This is from gamecrafters.com, and it is the work of Ella Mortimer, a beautiful rendition, updated coloring of an historic deck. And of course, this makes me think of my Minchiati di Bamarzo, which has those bright, bright colors. And they certainly fit in kind of the same category of these saturated, brilliant colors, livening up an historical deck. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this as much as I've enjoyed sharing it with you. Have a lovely day. Thank you.